And leaders from the Sugar Belt welcome the newly assented Sugar Act. Also tonight, Waste Not. Voice of Nature takes us to Nakuru, where one school has found a way to upcycle human waste for conservation.
A good way to really turn around the need for firewood, so going out to look for cutting down trees to provide energy, and a good way of ensuring that key water source area is not contaminated.
Welcome to the broadcast once again. Now, the government has been urged to reinstate the students' medical cover Edu Afya in order to ensure proper medical care for students. This comes after a KCSE candidate at Mukulusu Secondary School in Kakamega County died en route to hospital after an unspecified illness. This is the second death of a KCSE candidate in the county, raising concerns about the accessibility and adequacy of healthcare services to students.
Hakufuatisha kingine, lakini alikuwa anatuambia napata nafuu. Mara mingi hakuwa anakula, alikuwa anasema nasikia uchungu kwenye koo. Na tulikuwa tunamlazimisha, tunambembeleza, tunamwambia ajaribu, ajitahidi akule. Na pia sisi tulikuwa tunajaribu ili tuhakikisha kwamba amekula chakula kidogo. Ukiangalia hospitali yetu ya hapa chini Shamahubu, ambayo ndio kimbilio yetu ya kwanza, tukianza kuhisi maumivu tunakimbilia kule. Lakini wakati tunafika kule tunakosa matibabu, hakuna.
Sasa mpaka kufikia jana hadi nikamchukua mpaka shule kufanya mtihani yake. Kufikia jioni nikaona amelemewa kabisa na kulalamika koo yake, hata kumeza kitu ni ngumu na kutoka jasho sana. Kajaribu kumtibu na madawa tulinunua, tukaamua kumubeba mpaka hospitali, ambayo kufika huko akapatikana wakati hako harakati ya kuenda hiyo njiani akaacha.
On Monday, when the boy came to school, complained of sore throat, and the body was very weak until his demise. Towards the end of that term this year, the boy was on and off, and even if you go in terms of attendance in school, was on and off.
The exit of the Edu Afya, most of our students are now suffering a lot, and some of these parents, some of them are very poor, some of them they are just earning peanuts. They cannot maybe take care of the health of their children.
Siaya Governor James Orengo and Raried MP Otiende Amolo, among other leaders, have demanded for speedy investigation into the murder of Wells Fargo Human Resource Manager, the late Willis Ayeko. The leaders attended the burial of the late Ayeko at his Ongiende village home in Alego Central, Siaya County. The late victim is the latest in the spate of killings across the country. He was allegedly abducted, tortured, brutally killed before his body was discovered on the 23rd of last month. Police say they have arrested key suspects in the violent murder.
Evil-minded persons have got no place in a civilized society. And the broad-based government that I serve in is going to do whatever it takes to deal with such negative forces in the fullness of time. As a matter of time, the government has already declared war against criminals and their associates.
What we have not been told is who killed Willis. And I am pleading with the police let us not go around the stories to talk about thugs and criminality. We want the killer or killers, not just the people who carried out the execution. We want to know who was responsible for this heinous act.
And the security forces must understand that the absence of security is either committed by the security forces or tolerated by the security forces. If they are not the police who are causing the killings, then we must commit to get those who are causing the killings.
Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka has reaffirmed the opposition's commitment to standing with the people of Kenya amidst what he describes as Kenya Kwanza's oppressive governance. Speaking in Vihiga, Kalonzo, accompanied by leaders allied to him, condemned the government for rising cases of abductions and demanded justice for those who have allegedly died at the hands of police.
The state of opposition in the country has been uncertain, with some Azimio coalition parties drifting towards the government. Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka insists that despite these shifts, the remaining opposition leaders will continue to hold the government accountable.
Mimi hata sina cheo kwa Azimio la Umoja, lakini nimeshikilia wenzangu angalau tudhibiti inchi siende mbaya. Kwa hivyo mimi sitaenda njia ya rafiki zangu hao. Hata kama tutabaki wachache namna gani, hao ndio tutakomboa Kenya hii nao.
Baba alipofanikiwa kwenda pande ya EU, tuliambia mheshimiwa Kalonzo, hii gari bado inaenda, rukia twende. Tumekuja hapa tumefuata yeye na niye ndio kiongozi yetu, anatuongoza.
Kalonzo criticized the government's response to calls for justice, particularly in investigating cases of violent protest victims. He emphasized the importance of accountability and transparency in handling the rising incidents of abductions and death attributed to police actions.
Ni vizuri tuambiwe ukweli kama watoto pia waliuawa kwa mikono ya polisi. Tunataka na sio Kenya.
There can be no higher betrayal than the betrayal of the 60 young people who died because of the Finance Bill 2024.
Kalonzo and his allies voiced concerns over what they call failed policies affecting the economy and health sectors. According to the Wiper leader, the current administration's approach is causing hardship for ordinary Kenyans.
Chose a senior council to lead the team ya kukataa na uwanja wetu wa ndege usiende na mtu anaitwa ndani.
Ukiangalia bila kumekuwa na shida mingi na confusion kwa serikali saa hii. Nyinyi umeona vile hospitali watu wanaumia.
The leaders were speaking in Vihiga during the burial of the father to former Speaker of the National Assembly, Kenneth Marende. Brian Amoai, K24.
Away from politics, they say everything that comes in threes is perfect. It has been so for one couple from Thika, Kiambu County, who have been trying to have a child for 13 long years until they were blessed with triplets. Now, John and Judy Wamburu's journey to become parents has endured many challenges, and the latest, a huge hospital bill. Take a look. The smile on the parents' faces barely say half of what they feel. For John and Judy Wamburu, it has been a story of resilience and patience that started way back in 2011 when they got married. The couple from Thika, Kiambu County saw their honeymoon period cut short by fertility complications, setting them on a long, challenging journey. In 2022, after alternative remedies, including traditional methods, failed, Judy was introduced to in vitro fertilization, IVF.
2022, I tried everything like kienyeji, herbals. I tried them. I tried all kind of hormonal drugs, lakini sikuweza kusaidika.
In March 2024, Judy began the IVF process, a treatment that drained the couple both emotionally and financially. It cost approximately 700,000 shillings. By the second week of March, they received the long-awaited news. Judy conceived not just one, but 3 babies.
Kutoka hapo sasa ni kuanza safari ya ujauzito. I cannot say ilikuwa easy. It was very tough because I could vomit I could vomit, even damu, acidity ilikuwa juu. I couldn't eat. Fortunately, we did this IVF, and by the grace of God, ikaweza kufaulu.
After an emergency cesarean section, the babies were delivered preterm. The girl and 2 boys weighed slightly over 1 kilogram each. Like clockwork, Judy has to be at the hospital daily in order to feed the babies who are still in need of specialized care at the ICU.
Siku za kwanza bwanangu ndiye sababu ya kidonda ya CS ndiye alikuwa anakuja kuleta maziwa na express the whole night, na express mchana, analeta maziwa asubuhi na jioni. Lakini 3 weeks ago nimeanza kuwa nikikuja hapa in person, nashinda na wao na wanyonyesha, pia na express maziwa ya kuacha usiku. Na hiyo kitu imekuwa ikitumia pesa mingi, sababu unapata lazima nitumie Uber. Juu uwezi ukatumia matatu wakati mwingine labda inaweza enda off road ikugongeshe unjipate umepata shida.
The greatest joy has indeed come at a great price. John and Judy now stay at a huge 2.2 million shillings hospital bill.
Bili inaendelea kuongezeka. Watoto wetu wamekuwa discharged, lakini bado bili inaongezeka sababu kuna kitanda wanalalia. Hiyo kitanda ingewekwa mtoto mwingine, so lazima tuilipie. Kuna nurses ambao ni wazuri sana, wanatuhudumia hapa kila siku. Pia wao lazima changes zao ziwekwe. Kwa hivyo unaona hizi changes za kila siku zinafanya bili inazidi kuongezeka.
John and Judy Wamburu are now reaching out to well-wishers for help, hoping to bring their precious babies home.
The well-wishers, they keep us in prayers, and if they can be able to support us financially, they can do it because the burden is too huge.
Tumejaribu kuchanga, tumejaribu kutafuta marafiki watusaidie, na wametusaidia na lakini haijatosha. Imebaki kama milioni 2.2. Tunaendelea kuomba wa Kenya wenye wanaweza tusaidia kulipa hiyo bill.
It is only just the beginning for these babies. Kalian, Kellan and Kyla may not be aware now, but they have been born into a healthcare system that is seemingly punitive to those in dire need unless necessary and urgent changes are implemented. Well, from that story of resilience, we take our very first break here on Evening Edition. More stories to come. Do stay with us.
Back to the future. The future is simulate. Bet smarter. Win faster now. Be a winner. More at Bet.
I couldn't imagine leaving my children. Who I was going to leave my children with?
Kisumu Pacho. Get ready this November 10th. K24 TV brings you a powerful edition of Get Real, broadcasting live from Kisumu City. We'll be diving deep into a topic that affects us all: gender-based violence.
This is the reason why people kill men. Just for this reason, that you might have feel a sense of justice.
Hear from survivors, activists and community leaders as they share their stories, struggles and solutions to ending violence in our homes, schools and communities.
First of all, I want to show that I overcame. First of all, I want to show that there is pain in this process and that the reality of this thing, it takes time.
Join us as we tackle tough questions, uncover hidden truths and inspire real change.
We need something just more than apology, something just much more than money, something just much more than compensation.
Get Real, where voices are heard, stories are shared and solutions are found. Don't miss this important conversation only on K24 TV.
Karibuni. Hii ndio base ya the best local entertainment.
Sitakubali ukalie kiti cha umiliki katika kampuni ya mume wangu.
Tell me where my money is and I'll make this quick and painless.
You don't know what they do to girls like you.
I think it's a bit unfair. Nakujua vizuri sana. Na najua mdosi wangu vizuri sana. Hauwezi akakuandika kazi.
Welcome back. The Ministry of Health now says that the 2 deaths previously linked to the polio vaccination campaign last month were not caused by a reaction to the vaccine. The Director General for Health, Dr. Patrick Amoth, made the clarification today after reports that the deaths were as a result of the polio vaccine. The confusion at Afya House comes on a day when Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists Dentists Union KMPDU threatened to down their tools over the protracted issue of intern doctors' pay. Gertrude Brugay reports.
The health docket has been in the headlines in the past few weeks, and not for good reasons. The Ministry of Health has been at pains to explain clearly the Social Health Authority. It now faces another debacle after the Director General for Health, Dr. Patrick Amoth, was forced to recall a statement regarding the just concluded polio vaccination campaign. The report indicated that 2 children died as a result of the vaccine. Dr. Amoth now says this is not accurate.
Concerns from parents on the recent polio campaign that took place from 2nd to 6th October 2024 in 9 counties were investigated by the Kenya National Vaccine Safety Advisory Committee, chaired by Professor Wafula here, who found out that the reactions were coincidental and resolved over time. Many times health events happen around the time of vaccination by chance and are not caused by the vaccine itself.
The Director General made the clarification citing that all vaccines given by the Ministry of Health were safe and effective for use in accordance to the WHO recommendations.
The disease is disabling, but the worst case scenario would be an occurrence of death as a result of polio. And therefore, as it is our responsibility as an association to ensure that we promote vaccination, and it's not limited to the polio vaccine. In other vaccines that we ensure that all the children in this country receive on routine basis, as long as there is a preventable disease, we are ensuring that they receive vaccines which are safe for all the children, and in any time where a child experiences any kind of side effect, or if they are sick for coincidentally, as has been mentioned, we ensure as pediatricians we look after the children and we treat whatever condition it would be.
According to the ministry, the deaths were allegedly occasioned by pneumonia and meningitis. The earlier reports left many parents concerned. The ministry's clarifications comes ahead of yet another round of vaccinations this month. The polio vaccination campaign is not the only fire the Ministry of Health is fighting at the moment. The Kenya Union of Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union has threatened to down their tools. KMPDU gave the ultimatum, which is hinged on the government's commitment to fully implement the provisions of the 2017-2021 collective bargaining agreement. KMPDU Secretary Davji Atela claimed via his official X handle that the government is yet to fully implement the 2017 CBA, which assures a monthly stipend of over 200,000 shillings for intern doctors, a stark contrast to the government's recent proposal of 47,000 to 70,000 shillings, citing due to budget constraints. KMPDU's threat for industrial action comes a day after the Ministry of Health's announcement confirming the availability of a 1.7 billion shilling in a supplementary budget to be allocated to the Ministry of Health and disbursed to counties as a conditional grant for intern doctors.
And to the Ministry of Health that we will be allocating 1.75 billion shillings in this financial year, because the 3.5 billion was to be paid within a period of 2 years. So this financial year, we will be having 1.75 to pay the basic salary arrears that is owed by the counties to the doctors.
The Health Ministry has faced serious criticism from all quarters, including religious organizations, who accuse the government of failing to provide universal health coverage. The religious leaders have even gone ahead to suggest the withdrawal of SHIF and the return of NHIF. Gertrude Burgay, K24 TV.
President William Ruto has reached out to President-elect Donald Trump following his victory in the U.S. elections. The move is Kenya's intention to strengthen bilateral ties with the new American administration. With trade, investment and security partnerships at stake, Kenya is keen on ensuring that agreements crafted during the Biden era are not disrupted. However, Trump's return to power raises broader questions, especially for Africa, with geopolitical shifts on the horizon and new conflicts demanding America's attention. Our reporter Brian Amwai looks at what Trump's win could mean for Kenya and the entire African continent and the geopolitics.
As America adjusts to a new era under President Donald Trump, Kenya and much of Africa find themselves at crossroads. For Kenya, this marks a moment of both uncertainty and opportunity. President William Ruto reached out directly to President-elect Donald Trump, expressing a willingness to explore mutual interest areas, from the Kenya-US Trade Pact negotiated under President Joe Biden to security alliances combating terrorism. Kenya is making it clear that it is seeking stability in its relations with the United States. But what does Trump's win mean for Kenya's place on the global stage? President Trump's America First agenda has historically been viewed with caution by African nations, especially those relying on US aid and trade. Trump's last term saw deep cuts to foreign aid and a shift towards business-oriented partnerships rather than purely development aid. Kenya could potentially benefit, but much depends on the terms Trump may set.
I foresee a scenario whereby, yes, American First may be very good for the Americans, but to Kenya, for a developing economy like Kenya, we more or less thought that a globalist would be the best, create more opportunity, even for Africans and even Kenya in that perspective. With American First, it also means Trump is likely to reduce the aid, the amount of aid that is likely to come to the African continent. Remember, there's a lot of aid that gets into this part of the world. There's the US aid, among other projects funded by the US. If he comes up with a policy to try and reduce the aid into the African continent and pushes it through the Congress, then it means that aid will really reduce. But
geopolitically, Trump's win adds an unpredictable factor to global conflict. During his last term, Trump took a stark, less interventionist stance, particularly with conflicts in the Middle East and Africa. But there are new crises emerging globally, from Israel-Palestine tensions to the escalating situation in Eastern Europe.
That under Trump may try to find an amicable solution to these conflicts, whereby trying to have a state versus state kind of agreement between Palestine and Israel, and probably try to manage or rather de-escalate the conflict in the Middle East. In Ukraine, I foresee a scenario whereby, you see, Ukraine is at war with Russia, but Ukraine is getting a lot of support from NATO, whereby US is also a member of NATO, the Western allies. I foresee a scenario whereby the Trump administration may decide to slightly reduce the kind of funding it's giving towards Ukraine, so as to more or less de-escalate this conflict and try to engage Vladimir Putin of Russia in an agreement whereby to try and pacify that part of the world.
Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni also took to the congratulation bandwagon, terming Trump's victory as a true reflection of the feeling of the majority of citizens in the United States, adding the freedom-loving people of Uganda look forward to mutually beneficial engagement with the American administration. His neighbor Rwanda President Paul Kagame's message was more direct, reading in part, and I quote, "Your clear message has been that the United States could be a partner of choice that attracts by the force of its example, rather than by imposing its views and ways of life on others." End of quote. Brian Amoai, K24.
President William Ruto's signing of the sugar bill into law, a legislation designed to revitalize the country's struggling sugar industry, is a significant move for Kenya's agricultural sector. The signing, which took place at State House, Nairobi on 2nd November, is pivotal since it is aimed at addressing long-standing challenges faced by sugar producers and ensuring a sustainable sector. Our reporter John Makuba on the Sweet Beat.
Did so in a record time.
The recently assented act, which was sponsored by Navaholo MP Emmanuel Wangwe and co-sponsored by Bungoma Senator David Wakoli, is expected to enhance the regulatory framework governing sugar production, distribution and marketing, providing a much-needed lifeline to local farmers and millers.
Kama nini hiyo bili yenye iko ndani wata implement, then itakuwa sawa. Lakini sasa kwa upande wa malipo waimarishe.
Ikishapitishwa vile imepitishwa hivyo, mkulima miwa ikikatwa ichukuliwe kwa siku 7 uwe tumepata malipo yako. Wewe pia uweze kupata pesa ambayo unaweza nunua mbolea pia ama lepa. Ikusaidie lepa kwa shamba na ikusaidie kwa tena mahali pengine.
Among its key provisions, the act reestablishes a sugar board tasked with overseeing industry operations, ensuring quality control and promoting fair trade practices. This regulatory body will play a crucial role in addressing issues such as market distortions, smuggling of sugar products, and inadequate pricing mechanisms that have plagued the industry for years.
Wakulima wa Bungoma, Kakamega, Trans Nzoia, Uasin Gishu, eneo hili wataweza vile vile kupigia mwakilishi wao kura kuwakilisha katika bodi ya sukari.
There's also implementation of a sugar development levy, which had also been removed, and that's why most of the factories have been staggering. They have been operating without a clear framework of how the funding is to be.
One of the most significant benefits of the new law is its emphasis on supporting local farmers. The legislation mandates that a substantial percentage of sugar sold in the country be sourced from domestic producers, thereby reducing dependency on imported sugar.
During sugar board time, ilikuwa kwamba wakati kama wa maintenance, sugar board ilikuwa inaweza kufacilitate viwanda, na wakati huo hatukukuwa na shida ya maintenance. Kitu ingine ni kwamba sugar board ilikuwa kwa nafasi ya kuinua wakulima, na tena walikuwa kwa nafasi ya kufanya checks and balance upande wa wakulima, na kwa hivyo zao la miwa likawa kwa nafasi iliyo bora.
Additionally, the leaders believe the act will encourage investments in modernizing sugar factories and adopting advanced agricultural practices. This act aims at offering incentives for innovation and efficiency, and in return, enhance productivity and competitiveness in both local and international markets.
Importation ndio imekuwa changamoto kubwa sana kwa hii kampuni, kwa sababu watu wanasembea patale wakuze miwa wa nini hao, mtu anangoja tu hapa across the board, anachukua sukari, anakuja na rebrand na anauza. Sasa inatu affect hapa sana.
Hata mtu akienda, kitu ambacho kimekuwa kitumiza sana ni kwamba kuna sukari ile ambayo inaletwa kutoka nje. Katika sheria tumeweka kwamba ile sukari pia ambayo imetolewa kutoka kule nje, hakuna sukari itatolewa kutoka kule nje iletwe hapa kabla hakujakuwa na approval ya Kenya Sugar Board.
Kule nyuma sukari hii haikuwa inalipa ushuru. Tulikubaliana aina yoyote ya sukari kutoka nje lazima walipe ushuru, kwa sababu huo ushuru ndio utakao dhibiti bodi hii. Huo ushuru ndio ambao utasaidia asilimia fulani ya pesa kwenda kutengeneza barabara na miundombinu.
It's going to be the business of the board, even to determine whether really sugar, working with the Ministry of Agriculture and Treasury, to determine really whether there is need to import any sugar or not.
Sugar millers have also welcomed the legislation. Nzoia Sugar Company Managing Director Ezron Kotut is optimistic that the act will restore their livelihoods and stabilize the market.
Industry is now going to get inspectors. This has been missing. Inspectors both at the farm and also at the factory level, so that they are able to move and check. Some of these factories, I don't want to mention their names, but you will find that they don't allow, even the current AFA, they don't allow the regulator to come in and even look at their production records, for example. How do they also cure their waste, because there are wastes that come out of the factory.
As Kenya navigates the complexities of global sugar markets, the successful implementation of the sugar bill will be crucial. Stakeholders across the industry are now looking to the government for swift action in operationalization of the new law, ensuring that its benefits are realized on the ground.
Factory yetu imekaa muda mrefu bila maintenance, na kwa sababu because of the situation we are in, tumekuwa kwa nafasi iliyo ngumu sana kuendelea kusaga, na hali factory iko na breakdowns usubuhi na jioni.
Rais wetu pia akiwa kwa Kikwete, akiwa kwa kampeni, alisema sijui kwa mwezi moja ama miezi ngapi hivi atakuwa ametupea mtambo mpya hapa, na sisi tumepaki na ule wa kitambo ambao pia unaleta hasara kwa kampuni.
The regional commissioner should come and use the ascended bill with immediate effect, so that they start implementing it to regulate the operations of the millers in Western region to avoid any future collapse of these factories like it happened last year.
John Makuba, K24 TV.
Multi bonus, zidisha ushindi wako hadi 1,000 na multi bonus 1000%. Kuwa mshindi, Mozartbet.
I know mkona talents, lakini mkona vibe. It's time to discover East Africa's newest talent. Ni mda wa Kenya kuchachisha. Anguka nayo kati toka, utuonyeshe hizi stands zako. Africa's biggest talent show, Bongo Star Search, is coming to Kenya. Stand a chance to win amazing prizes and work with the biggest names in entertainment. Majudges, wakiongozwa na Rita, Master J, Salama Jabir, and our very own Sanaipe Itande, watakuwa pale tukicheka na tukilia. Tulieni mpangwe wasee. From majenzi hadi wakoro, students na corporates, jitokeze tujue nani mzii. Tukutane Kenya National Theatre on Friday 29th and Saturday 30th November. Kosa uchekwe brother. BSS Season 15, sasa Beyond Borders. Si mchezo. Tune in to ST Swahili Channel 160 or 400 every Sunday at 9 p.m. and on Wednesday for an extra highlights show at 8:30 p.m. Star Times. Enjoy digital life.
Kula pamoja, kucheka pamoja na kuomba pamoja. Haya yawe nyenzo za siri ya upendo wetu kama familia, kama jamii na kama taifa.
Kupata pamoja kama skiza tune yako, dial *811 *620#.
Many thanks for staying with us. Rapid urbanization is threatening vital groundwater resources. In Nakuru, pit latrines have been contaminating key aquifers, but one school in the county has decided to go against the grain. Ruri Primary School has turned this crisis into an opportunity, using biogas from waste to cook meals for students, thereby reducing the environmental impact. Voice of Nature this week dives into the world of water, waste and energy. The reporter David Kagina.
Water does not come from the tap. It's either harvested as rainwater, fetched from springs, rivers or other surface water sources, most of it groundwater. Both shallow wells and deep wells, commonly known as boreholes, get water from the underground. However, pit latrines deposit waste in the same area, and over time, this results to contaminated groundwater. It's even worse when this happens at source, where we have pockets of porous materials that store water underground, sometimes referred to as aquifers.
As a country, in the recent years, we have pushed for an agenda of industrialization, urbanization, and really making sure through the devolution